Keith Myers here again with our next installment on our short series on Rapier Thrusts. Now we're going to talk about the basic lunge, also often called Lungo. Now, I'll show you the classical fencing version. I'm sure you've all seen it. If I take a classical fencing stance, I'm here. The way it was taught was very by stages, right? You cheat point, step forward, recover. Achieve point, step forward, recover. Achieve point, step forward, recover. And that was really to drive home the idea that the weapon leads the way. You got to have that the weapon in motion before you start the step, right? And by breaking it up that way, achieve point, step, recover, doing that over and over, it kind of starts to teach that. And then eventually, what you end up with is you start to shoot the weapon and you just step right at the same time. Boom. So it becomes a fast. Okay, that's a classic lunge. And we're going to do it a little bit different for our purposes. Notice in the classic lunge, this leg stays behind, and then I recover back. So it's kind of a very linear approach. Once I'm here, I'm pretty much committed to coming all the way back. And notice too, I'm dropping forward, I'm dropping my level, but I can't change my level. I'm almost always thrusting at the same level. So if I want to thrust higher, I have to aim higher with my arm or lower with my arm. My body stays at the same level. Well, we're going to change that around a little bit. When I do the lunge, right, I step out the same way, shoot the hand, step out, but this leg follows, right? And I'm not shooting my hand all the way back like this. Remember our first video in the series talked about the pivot extension. That pivot extension is part of the lunge. So I'm stepping out, boom, coming back. Notice, shoot the hand, this steps out, and then this leg drifts forward, and I'm on my toe, right? So all my weight's on my lead leg, this leg is supporting, and then I push off with my lead leg and recover. So from my fighting stance, and that's how we're going to do the lunge, okay? The reason for this, I'm not on a strip fencing, right? I have to have the ability to go off at any direction, not just straight back. If I've lunged and I've come up to here, now I can push off with my lead leg and recover this way, or I can push off with my rear leg and recover this way. I'm not committed to recovering straight back like I would be if I ended up in this extended position, right? So I can be working with Bob, and I can do my lunge and come out over here. Working with Bob, come out over here. I can also change my level. If I'm here, I could have, as I came in, I could have dropped, or as I came in, I could have risen up, because I'm not anchoring this foot to the ground by letting it come up. So the lunge, most people associate it with the thrust. It's almost synonymous. But I can use the lunge for a snap cut, for a thrust, for a slash. The lunge is a footwork technique, not a striking technique. Okay? And that's why it's important to be able to adjust my level. So for instance, from way out here, if I think I've caught Bob unawares and I want to land a snap cut to the forehead, I can still use the lunge. It could be here and back. And it's kind of a leap in, a leaping lunge. In fencing, this is sometimes called a balestra, as opposed to just this, kind of that leaping in with the lunge. So I'm doing something that's kind of halfway in between, but it's a lunge for Bowie knife technique. So a little more practical in my mind. So here, I could have lunged in with a slash, right? I get Bob's attention high, and here's my lunge, and I slash, and I come back out again. So see, in this instance, I drop my level low to reach, and then back out again. Or could I drop my level low and then come out over here? That flexibility is important. So again, I can do it with a standard thrust, where I basically stay the same level. I can do it with a snap cut, where I essentially raise my level. And I can do it with a horizontal slash, where I essentially drop my level. But that's the lunge. So if I was going to break it down, my photo bomb, I was going to break it down in parts. Shoot the point, step and recover, back. Shoot the point, step, back. Shoot the point, step, back. Shoot the point, step, back. Shoot the point, my hand going back, shoot the point, step, back. And then I string it together where it's all one motion as much as possible. And I don't have enough room to keep it in frame, but if Bob was my target, I would work on just how far, I work on my range, how far away I can be and still comfortably land that thrust. Okay? Other things we can do with the lunge. I can make it more deceptive by doing a gathering step. It's really, if you saw my prior footwork video, we talked about an exchange step, which basically means I'm exchanging one foot for the other. Where one foot was, I put the other foot there and step out. That's an exchange step. So I'm essentially going to do an exchange step to give more reach with my lunge. So if I'm standing here, if I can step up where this foot was, now I'm pushing off from here rather than pushing off from back here. So I've gained about almost 2 feet. I push off from here. It can make a big difference. See? Over here. From here, I step up. Now, I don't want him to see that, obviously. I don't want to telegraph. If he sees my leg coming up, he knows a thrust is about to come, he's going to get out of the way. And this is called, in fencing, a fléché, which means an arrow. Like you're shooting straight in with an arrow. And in fencing, they'll do that. They'll cross and run forward, right? So the idea with a fléché is I'm trying to hit the guy and come past. It's a charging in kind of motion. And we may use that, but we'll really cover that later when we're talking about really having to cover a lot of distance. From the basic kind of squaring off position with Bowie knives, I wouldn't use that. It's too telegraphic. They see it coming. So what I want to do with this exchange step or gathering step is I'm moving around and I'm circling with the opponent, and I'm wanting to get to the point where instead of my feet being wide, where I've stepped almost like I'm a fencer, where my foot is behind this one, right? When my foot is behind like this, then I can step up and he can't see it, right? Because if he's looking square on, this is easy to see. This is not so easy to see. So I wouldn't do it from a standing start because my feet aren't in line. It would be in motion, moving around. At a certain point, I end up stepping behind this foot, so it's deceptive, and then I shoot in with my lunge. All right, moving around. That's how you gain that extra reach with the lunge. Okay. So, basic lunge, with Bowie knife method. Remember, shoot the point, step in, draw the foot up, spring back. Okay, just to show the lunge where there's a little more room to show it. Here, I shoot the hand, I step out, and I recover. So this is how I'd practice it where there's room to move around. So I'm just moving around randomly. I want to gain distance, remember we talked about stepping up, I'm moving around until I can get my foot aligned where I step up and then I get that much more reach. Okay, now if I bring Adrian in just to give a target, later on we'll do a whole video lesson showing how to train with focus gloves and the knife as targeting. For now, just to give you an idea, he's giving me a target so I can kind of work on my ranging. I could be here, I don't know how much I could be back to hit it. I step back a little further, make me really reach out, and when I'm back this far, I know I have to step. Okay, and this could just as easily be a snap cut, right? Lunge with a snap cut. He holds it up even higher, kind of like it's his head. Again, because with the lunge, I don't want to be locked in one level. With this variety of the lunge, I can change my level. Okay, that's the lunge.